Hey guys, if you're watching this, I have lost my freedom and I'm locked up in jail, all for free speech. I am asking you all for some help. Please share this video and get the word out. It's been 2 years since the Tyrants in Waterloo, Iowa arrested me. This all started after I was driving back to my house, fresh from auditing. I was driving on my block and I had noticed a bunch of undercover police and pickup trucks right behind me. I had no idea what was in store for me. There was around 15 cops at my neighbor's house, armed to the teeth, and they had my neighbor surrounded. Confused as why this was happening, I see these officers handcuffing my neighbor. He kept asking why they were arresting him, and none of the officers answered. He resisted the cuffs, and they threw him to the ground, tased him multiple times, and kneeled on his neck and rubbed his head on the concrete.
I hope it's all on video, bro. I hope it's all on video. This is crazy.
Go to the side.
You need to leave those two phones out.
He's telling him he has to leave.
Make sure you send that video to my father.
I got it. Just come see me.
Come on, man. What's your time?
Sir, off the property.
I'm not on. This is public. Don't be a punk.
Noticing that I was recording this very rough arrest, one of the tyrants yelled at me to get off the property. I never once went on the property, mind you. Now we meet one of the biggest oath-breaking tyrants in all of Iowa, Lieutenant Michael Gersh.
Is there a witness to all this?
No, I'm not. I don't answer questions.
Oh, okay, then go.
He doesn't like that I was documenting this rough arrest and tries getting me away so I cannot record it any longer. I tell him off, as the arrest was well over 50 feet away and I was on public property the whole time. I don't take corrupt, unlawful demands lightly, and Lieutenant Michael Gersh was so ego-filled and offended that I made fun of his pimple on his chin.
Cool pimple you got on your face.
Hey, there's a search warrant being executed on this property. You need to leave the property.
This is public. Don't touch me. What the f*** are you doing?
For this property.
He turned around and started shoving me away into an active roadway.
Name and badge number now.
Lieutenant Gersh, G3716.
You don't know who you're f***ing with, boy.
Obviously not. There's a search warrant being executed here, so you don't have the right to be here.
I'm in public. You pushed me in the street, you dumb f***. You pushed me there, dumb
Go to your house.
No.
Okay.
Ah.
There's a search warrant being executed on
Why are
this
you touching me? What the
Get
are
the
you
property
doing?
and get out of the
What are you doing, you dumb f***? I
over
can't
there.
videotape.
Right here.
This is my property. Don't
Right.
touch me.
This is your property.
Don't touch me.
Back up.
You pushed me in the f***ing road.
I'm not gonna tell you
recording.
again.
I can't
Good. I'm
record this.
recording too.
Now, I don't like talking about this, but I think it's needed. I'm a 100% disabled combat veteran with PTSD alone. When another man puts hands on me for no reason, I get quite mad, as would anybody else. I can control myself from physically fighting back. But instead of my lighthearted comedic approach I normally use, I voiced my anger via free speech and hurled insults at Lieutenant Michael Gersh. I then walked across the street to where a group of people were and continued filming the arrest. I stayed out of the scene, even though there was many family members in the active scene walking back and forth.
They wrestled him down on the ground and scraped his face.
Oh, I was watching.
They scraped his face.
As you notice, I was the furthest away compared to the many others watching this. I noticed a group of officers standing inside the fence, doing nothing but talking with each other. And you could tell that they hated my free speech and wanted to find a way to arrest me. That's when we meet this tyrant, Sergeant Greg Erie. Greg Erie was very upset with my free speech, saying that I can't swear. He had enough and decided to solicit a disorderly conduct charge and asked everyone around me if my speech offended them.
What do you want?
You can stand out here and talk.
I can talk all I want. First Amendment right.
Okay? You
Oh, I can't swear?
Are you ladies offended by his?
Everyone said they weren't offended and my speech was just fine. So I said as many cuss words as possible to his face, and these famous words were said.
Yeah, you're a tyrant. Suck my dick.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, arrest me, huh? Disorderly.
I was arrested for bruising his ego and hurting his feelings. They knew that the disorderly conduct charge held zero weight. So instead, they charged me with interference with official acts. They threw me in a freezing cold cell, no blanket, mat, or food. 12 hours later, I had some friends who watched my live stream drive all the way up from Illinois to bail me out. Now things get a lot more corrupt. At first, I got a public pretender, which was this woman. In talking with her, she stated that I would be found guilty because I cussed at the cops. Thinking to myself, wow, how is this failure an attorney? She didn't want to represent me, and I had gotten another public pretender. This time, he agreed with me that I didn't commit any crime, and it was obvious I was arrested for my speech. During this time, before court, after waiting over 10 years, I had finally received my back pay from the VA for my disabilities. So I went out attorney hunting. Let me just say that finding an attorney in Iowa is almost impossible, but I convinced one of the best attorneys to represent me. Same attorney that won a huge amount of money for a client who was recording police in which they stole his phone. For him to fight the simple misdemeanor charge, it initially cost me over $20,000. We thought it would be a breeze to win as I hadn't committed a crime. Next comes court. Here we meet a very unconstitutional, corrupt judge, Brooke K. Jacobson, and the DA, which he didn't want to drop the charges. Now, if I didn't know this guy named Brooke was a judge, I would have guessed he was probably just a... I mean, look at this creepy-ass face. So jury selection happens. We asked the jury to raise their hands if they are personal friends with police officers, and over 2/3 raised their hands, with many stating they are personal friends with these very Waterloo officers. I knew then that this was unfair and they had rigged it against me. Oh, and it gets worse. One of the 6 jury members was an active city council member, John Childs. John even stated that he would be hesitant to side against the police as he has to work with them. During court, we were against 2 prosecutors instead of 1. Judge Brooke K. Jacobson was censoring the Constitution, case law, and many arguments, while letting the prosecutor say anything they pleased. We know that interference with official acts states physical contact or an obstruction is needed, an obstacle, and that verbal harassment is no part of this. They claim the physical part of interference happened when Lieutenant Michael Gersh shoved me in an active roadway. On the stand, Michael Gersh stated that he couldn't clear the house, which he was searching because I was videoing outside. He lied and claimed that me being there prevented him from clearing the house. He is such a dishonorable, corrupt tyrant. Watching him be completely uncomfortable on the stand and cringing from his actions when he was shoving the old man and then shoving me around, he was prepped to lie and say anything that would cover his own ass. From the judge to the DA to the police, you have to understand that they all have each other's back. And they'll lie and manipulate the law any way they feel like to win. The Constitution means nothing to these traitors. Even when Sergeant Erie admitted on the stand that when I called him a tyrant, it triggered him, and so he arrested me. He hated being called a tyrant, yet he acted just like an oath-breaking tyrant would, and stripped me from my freedom, threw me in a cage, and waged war on my mental health and wallet. During jury deliberation, the jury asked questions about the very law I was charged with, and the judge denied giving them the answer. I was found guilty. 10 days in jail, 20 suspended, and 1 year probation. Judge Brooke even sentenced me harshly and unfair because he wants to prevent others from doing what I do. Well, obviously thinking we would appeal this BS and get to a higher court that actually follows the law would be next. However, in Iowa, if you get a simple misdemeanor, it's up to the same corrupt court to decide if you even get an appeal or not. To save their own ass, they declined. All the hope we had left was to appeal to the Supreme Court of Iowa, and the chances are extremely low that they would even look at it, especially being a simple misdemeanor. Well, They couldn't care less and denied me twice. Now I am stripped of my freedom and sitting in a freezing cold cell. Don't worry, there is a plan in place to sue and try again. I am calling upon all of you for help. If what you just watched was unjust, please make your voices heard. All the contact info will be in the description. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, I'm sure they would love hearing from you. Don't just watch this and go about your day, or nothing will ever change. Help fight this battle with me. Oh, and John Childs, you picked the wrong one to side against. Because you're a rat coward and only cared about your political career rather than the people you swore to serve. I'll be taking your city council job away from you, John, and I will run against you. Anywhere you go, I will challenge and beat you for your cowardice. Once I'm free, prepare Waterloo. Things are about to get real, and you'll see a lot of freedom being exercised. Now it's up to you. Will you make your voices heard?
Yeah, you're a tyrant. Suck my dick.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, right.
I've been looking for a way out. I'm sick of feeling like I'm way down. Stuck in the middle of a large crowd. I just gotta fight and climb my way and then break out. Adrenaline in my system. I just wanna be different. I just wanna be winning. I've had this fight since the beginning. Got a mind with no limits, but sometimes I forget it.